The Sacred Mass, Chapter 32, The Family Reunion. Marina stopped her practice to regard Allan with a sad smile. Allan sat down beside his father, and he took a lock of his long black hair and he marked with streaks of silver. And crying, Allan told his father, "You stupid son of a bitch. And why didn't you tell us our situation? If you had told me, I would have been a rock of support and not a burden. Can you forgive me, Father?" Helmer opened his mouth, but he did not speak, and Allan drew near to listen. And Helmer opened his eyes slightly, and he attempted to speak again, but his words did not reach his son. And Allan drew nearer still, and Helmer stretched his fragile hands, and he wrapped them around Allan's heavy head. And Allan rested his weary head on top of his father's thin chest. And Allan whispered, "Dad, when you left, I searched for you everywhere. I put it up bounties, and then when they announced your funeral in the papers, I mourned you. And please stay with me forever. Don't ever leave me." And Helmer opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. And around that time, Sunshine opened the bedroom door to see how Helmer was doing. And smiling sadly, Sunshine smiled sadly when he saw Helmer embracing his son. And both Allan and Marina stayed with their father, and close to midnight, Helmer started moaning and crying in his sleep. And Allan rocked his father's fragile body till the nightmares went away. And Marina, who could barely stay awake, went to the room to fetch a pillow. And she too lay down near her father to enjoy breathing the same air as he did. And for the first time in 7 years, Allan felt happy with his life. In the other room, Sunshine was musing with Pandora. "You slept for a really long time," Pandora commented. "I was waiting for the old crone to die," said Sunshine, though looking back, I think I overestimated how long she could live. "See, things change after you seal yourself away," said Pandora. "I doubt it. Knowing her, she probably became even more insidious," said Sunshine. "Pandora, what happened after I went asleep? What became of my brothers and sisters?" "A hurricane destroyed our island fleet, and then a meteor fell on the capital. And Silvero's Magus armies then swept through the city, killing everyone who didn't immediately surrender. And I tried to look for you, but I couldn't find you. And when the dust settled, Silveros gave me a choice. And I could either hibernate with you, or I could help him rebuild our city." "I chose to hibernate," explained Pandora. "And 60 years ago, Citrin awoke me, and she told me that she was the last true golden dragon in this round green world. And it makes you feel better, other than my better half Inanis. There is nobody else that is like me left in this world." Sunshine grew somber, and she didn't want to believe his mother's word. He couldn't believe them, and there had to be others like him. Silvero couldn't have. He wouldn't have butchered her brother and sister. Her master Silvero was a good man. Then again, her siblings may have been too proud to surrender. And it was said that golden dragons die in captivity, and perhaps her sibling had chosen to die rather than live under the tyranny of an elf magus. And there was no way to know what really happened. Too much time had passed, and Silveros and Citrin were dead. Sunshine was distracted from his meditations when Allan entered the bedroom. "You two still awake?" asked Allan. "I couldn't sleep even if I wanted to, and I get tense whenever I'm exploring a new territory." "And how is your father doing?" asked Sunshine. "He's hungry, which is a good thing, and Marina's feeding him, and he will probably stay awake for an hour before returning to bed." And Pandora handed Sunshine the little doll Priscilla, and she said, "Gregory thought that you might need her." And Sunshine said, smiling sadly, "Priscilla, so the old crone kept my doll all of these years." Sunshine's laughter transformed into bitter tears. And Allan sat down on the bed beside Sunshine, and he took the doll before kissing Sunshine, and the two embraced, finding comfort in each other's warmth. Allan proceeded to kiss Sunshine's neck, and he handed the doll to Pandora, and Pandora, smiling, left the bedroom, and then she left a sign that read, "Dragon's Mating." And Sunshine completely undressed, and Allan did the same. And Allan gave a quick cursory glance at Sunshine, and then he proceeded to lock Sunshine in his strong embrace as his expert hands caressed Sunshine's back. And Sunshine breathed in a sigh of relief, and then he proceeded to kiss Allan. And Sunshine's wings manifested, and he's on you. and his usual disdainful face became all sweetness, and Allan kissed the butterfly-like wings and the texture felt like... No, Allan kissed the wings and the texture felt like butterfly wings, and he kissed lower and he started to devour Sunshine's only lower body orifice. And after a short time, a moan of pleasure escaped Sunshine's lips in spite of himself, and Allan chuckled and he incorporated himself, and then he proceeded to power through Sunshine with great tenacity. And with one other hand holding onto Sunshine's shoulder, and with the other he would sometimes pull at those beautiful blonde locks of hair. Helmer passed by Sunshine's bedroom, and when he heard Sunshine moaning and screaming with pleasure, he said to himself, I hate you so much now, Allan. I'm sorry, Dad, said Marina apologetically, and Helmer went with his daughter Marina to his bedroom to soak. Marina once again said, I'm sorry, Dad, but you know Allan. He has manures for brain. There's nothing wrong with desire, Marina, said Helmer calmly. And I desire things too, like Sunshine, but he wasn't physically attracted to me. And I thought that maybe if I became a good doctor, that maybe he would start looking at me as if I was a little kid. I guess I now understand how little Gregory felt back then. Marina chuckling said, It is a good thing I was born free of impurities. Desire is not an impure thing, it's channeled the right way. And just because you have not met your heart's desire doesn't mean that you are immune to fancy, said Helmer. If it was up to me, I would hope not to meet anyone I like. And not everyone needs to have someone in their life. My music and my family are enough for me, said Marina, smiling happily. My little saint, said Helmer, smiling. The noise in the other room grew louder, and it was distant Allan who was getting a serious workout. And just as he had expected, the good Dr. Sunshine was quite dexterous with his hands, and Allan could not help but compare both of Cedric's children. And while Gregory was emotive and unpredictable, Sunshine was meticulous and calculating even in the heat of pleasure. It is so unfair, pouted Helmer. And what is it, Father? Asked Marina, smiling benevolently. Everyone has one but me, said Helmer sadly. Hope doesn't have one, said Marina, laughing. Yes, hope is hopeless, said Helmer, smiling shyly. Mincy appeared to ask for more mana, and this time she brought with her a huge tub of an elemental, and Helmer held on to it for quite a long time, and it was a large white larva with tiny legs. Smiling, Marina asked, Is this your big baby? Mincy nodded in response. And what is his name? Asked Marina, smiling. Lishi, chirped Mincy happily. Do you only eat mana, or can you eat something else? Asked Marina. Mama, a fee, said Mincy. Efficient, said Helmer. More nutritious, like eating your vegetables. Where's his dad? Asked Marina. Mincy shrugged her shoulders in response. And when Helmer finished feeding the fat baby Lishi, he handed it to his mother, Mincy. And Mincy started to disappear, but Helmer said, I am going to need a favor from you. And Mincy became more solid to see what Helmer wanted. And Helmer handed Mincy his shoes. And Mincy started chirping happily, and then she departed with the 2 shoes. And Marina was a bit confused by the entire incident. And Helmer looked over his shoulder, and then he said, It is a secret code. We do not know who might be listening. You are full of it, Dad, scoffed Marina. I am no longer a little kid who blindly believes in whatever her daddy says. I had to check, said Helmer. I am ready to continue sleeping, and you should go to rest up as well. I am going to be fine by myself. Good night, Dad, said Marina, starting to stand up. Sweet dreams, my little saint, said Helmer, smiling before closing his eyes. Helmer awoke with the light of the morning sun, and he looked about his surroundings and he smiled, and he made a mental note to ask for a proper bed, one that he could hide under when he felt afraid. He went to the bathroom and he frowned when he noticed that there was not a razor. And he said to Pandora, Pandora, can you get me a razor? And Pandora entered the room with a razor, and after getting shaved and washing his mouth, Helmer took a cold shower. And unlike Allan, Helmer's body did not scar. And as a Jabberwock, Helmer had draconic blood, though extremely diluted. Tan elven blood was considered more fashionable, and the only hint of Helmer's draconic heritage was his unusual colored eyes. And Allan's mother had claimed to be elven, but she was a mud that happened to have elf-like features. And even Helmer's mother did not actually have elf blood, rather she was part silky. And everything in no time was a game of manipulation and appearances. And after Helmer finished his shower, he looked at his scrawny frame in the mirror, and he was still peeved at being rejected by Sunshine due to his perceived ugliness. Sighing, he said, "I need to put on weight. This isn't a healthy look, Helmy." Mincy chirped in response. Helmer, smiling, said, "Good morning, Mincy. Did you run my little errand?" Mincy chirped in response. "Have more mana," said Helmer happily. And Mincy disappeared without taking anything else from Helmer. And Helmer got out of the bathroom wrapped in a bathrobe, and he opened the door of his bedroom and he heard Marina playing music. "Marina," asked Helmer, "I can't find the hairbrush." "Here's the hairbrush, Daddy," said Marina, running with a hairbrush. Helmer sat on a chair outside the balcony, and Marina stood behind him and started to comb to brush his hair dry. And Allan appeared at the door in his mouth when he saw his father shaving and bathed. And Allan opened the drawers and he asked, "Do you want some pajamas or something a bit more presentable?" "Are those my only two options?" asked Helmer. "You can stay in the bathroom or you can be in the nude," joked Allan. "Show me what I have for day wear," said Helmer dryly. "Well, we have your operating clothing, 4 mage robes, all in dark colors, your bathing suit, and that's it. Do you want me to give you something else to wear? And I have a lot of junk in the storage, and it might be a bit too big for you, but I can have it fitted," suggested Allan. "Bring all your junk over then," said Helmer, yawning. Sunshine opened the door slightly to see how Helmer was doing, and smiling he said, "Good morning, Helmy." Helmer pretended not to hear Sunshine, and Sunshine guessed that Helmer was still mad at him, and he made a motion to enter the room, but Allan asked his assistant to drag all the extra wardrobe he had downstairs. And these were the outfits he used to wear when he was 13 and 14 years old. And he never got rid of them because he fancied that one day he could give them to his vertically challenged father. Allan then returned with a different type of flavor of his attire, and Sunshine also entered with attires from Pandora's storage unit. "Look, Dad, these ones will come in different colors, and I want you to see if you like the design, and then I will bring you up some other colors," said Allan. And Helmer looked through some of the outfits, and then he said, lying back down in the futon, "This is too stressful. Pick something for me. Something with soft fabric, but not too hot. And also, Sunshine, can you set up the air conditioner in my room?" And Allan came back from the basement with a simple short sleeve white button short and a knee-long pants. And Helmer left for the bathroom to get changed, and while he was in there, Allan whispered to Marina, "He seems a bit moody." "Yeah, I don't blame him. You slept with his boyfriend after all," said Marina flatly. "No, I didn't. Dad never kissed Sunshine, and from the looks of it, he has never slept with him, and Sunshine said as much," said Allan defensively. And Sunshine returned with her to the bedroom with a small round orb, and as Sunshine passed by, he pinched Allan's behind, and Allan responded by pulling Sunshine's hair. Sunshine closed the windows to keep the cold air inside, and then he activated the air conditioner unit, and soon the bedroom was a comfortable 71 degrees. And once Helmer was dressed, he said, "I am ready for my breakfast, and I want Gregory to make it for me, and have him visit me with Caron, and Julian forged my signature a few days ago, so I'm going to be participating in that stupid tournament." "In what division?" asked Marina. "Archery," said Helmer dryly. "Archery?" asked Sunshine. "Why archery?" "All of the other spots were full," said Helmer, "and I don't even mind. You shoot a target and then I go home." "Good, that sounds like fun, Dad," said Allan, "and I will get you the cutest little mini bow in the market. I think I better get it myself. Weapons like furniture are best inspected in person, and I will stop by the guild tomorrow or whenever," said Helmer. "And what would you like to have for breakfast?" asked Allan, sitting down near his father. "I want cress with blueberries, strawberries, and," said Helmer, growing quiet. "Bananas," said Sunshine. Helmer nodded in response, and insisted Sunshine, sitting beside Helmer. Helmer turned his head to avoid looking at Sunshine, and Sunshine looked at Helmer for a bit, and guessing, Sunshine said, "Would you like to eat downstairs? You still haven't seen the rest of the house." Helmer got up from bed, and he made his way towards the door. And the door was unlocked, but Helmer struggled to open it, and so Shan opened the door for Helmer, and Allan gave a tour of the rest of the house to his father. And they then sat at the dining table. And they then sat at the dining table, and sitting there as well was a man that had gifted Allan the house. And Allan frowned when he saw that man. The man had short black hair and refined facial features, and clear green eyes, and an athletic body. The man was dressed in an elegant gentleman's outfit of sapphire color, and his most distinguished feature was his long, ladylike manicured hands, and he always wore a cool, polite smile. Sí, no, that one, bye-bye, no bless.